If you want to contact us, we're on email, studio@phonic.fm, or you can phone or text us on 01392 434 577, or you can tweet me at no crowdsurfing. Steve, my co-presenter, is not with us tonight. I think he must still be in the pub somewhere, being a sunny bank holiday. That's he's in the position, luckily, to be able to do that. But I do have a very special guest here in the studio with me, who has come to play some live music for us tonight. He's I'd like to think a friend of the show. He's been on before, and it was just a brilliant session he did for us a few months ago. But back tonight is Alex Kumar. How are you, Alex?
Hi, I'm well, thanks.
It's good to have you here. Thanks for coming in. It seems a while since I've seen you, because I went through a spate of coming to every gig that was conceivably possible that you were doing in and around Exeter, but I seem to have missed all your recent gigs, so I'm sorry about that. But you've been playing live recently, haven't you?
Yeah, I play around the place, mostly around the county, yeah, a lot of stuff I end up doing is just in the middle of nowhere, so
it's hard to track you down sometimes, but yeah, well worth seeking out. As I'm sure when Alex plays for us in a few minutes' time, you'll get to hear what a talented guy that Alex is. He's going to play some live music for us. We will play one more good song, and then we'll have a proper chat with Alex, and we'll find out more about what he's been up to. So we'll crack on with the good songs. This is the Kinks and Where Have All the Good Times Gone. That was the Kinks, and another one of our good songs here on Phonic FM on Good Friday. That was Where Have All the Good Times Gone. And you're listening to Phonic FM. It's the last transmission with just Mark tonight, not Steve, but we've more than made up for Steve's absence by having Alex Kumar here in the studio, going to play some live music for us tonight. And I was just chatting to Alex about how I hadn't had the opportunity to see him live recently, even though he is does play live very often, and is well worth seeing. And I feel like, because you've been in here before, Alex, and we did the whole sort of background and what I would consider a proper interview last time, it feels a bit wrong to go back over perhaps all the sort of introductory stuff, but it's nice just to perhaps have a bit more of a chat this time. But yeah. But you, around the time you were here previously, you just released your debut album. Yeah. So that must feel like a while ago, I guess.
Yeah, back in November.
That's right.
Yeah.
But so you've been obviously trying to play lots of gigs in the meantime, and get people to hear your stuff.
Yeah, and I'm doing quite a lot in the summer, a lot locally, and also looking at doing some more stuff around the rest of the southwest and the rest of the country. Perfect.
Yeah, I happen to notice that you're going to be playing in the place where I first saw you live in Woodbury.
Oh yeah, their festival thing.
That's right. The
June.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact date. I should have looked it up in advance. I can look it up on here. But the Bluesbury Festival at the Maltsters Arms.
Yeah. I think headlining or finishing the Friday. I think it's Friday or Saturday. One of the evenings. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're doing I think what they're doing this year, they've got the Friday night is the sort of the folkier night, with perhaps more sort of solo acoustic musicians, and you'll be headlining on the Friday night, and then on the Saturday it's going to be more sort of blues bands, yeah, a bit more noisier set, and with lots of sort of family events during the day as well. So, which considering that's at my local pub, I consider myself very lucky to have that going on in Woodbury. So
we're raising money for Devon-Air Ambulance.
That's right. Yeah, it's all for a very good cause. And it was the same event on a smaller scale last year where you played, wasn't it? And I think it was the first time I saw you. So yeah, it'd be good to come back to Woodbury. Good to have you back.
Yeah, good to be back though.
Yeah. And there's plenty of other live events coming up. We'll give some more firm dates for some of those in a short while. Do you want to? Are you happy to play us a song now?
Sure. Okay, this is a song I only got around to learning yesterday, I think. I get labelled a lot as a folk musician, and a lot of music I do you could say is folk music. And one of the things that interests me most about folk music or I suppose, country music or blues music and all of that is that you get a lot of stories, and some of them are real stories. Some of them, it doesn't matter if they're real, because you get stories of different ways of life, and this is a story by a guy called Townes Van Zandt, who is a Texan singer-guitarist. It's called Pancho and Lefty. It's about some outlaws down in the Mexico-America state borderline. Living on the road, my friend, was gonna keep you free and clean. Now you wear your skin like iron. Your breath's as hot as kerosene. You want your mama's only boy, but her favorite one, it seems. She began to cry when you said goodbye and sank into your dreams. Pancho was a bandit boy. His horse was fast as polished steel. Wore his gun outside his jeans for all the honest world to feel. Pancho met his match, you know, on the deserts down south in old Mexico. Nobody heard his dying words. Oh, and that's the way it goes. All the federales say they could have had him any day. They only let him hang around out of kindness, I suppose. Now Lefty, he can't sing the blues all night long like he used to do. The dust that Pancho bit down south ended up in Lefty's mouth. They daily laid Paul Pancho low. Lefty split for Ohio, where he got the bread to go. Well, there ain't nobody knows. See, they could have took him any day. They only let him slip away out of kindness, I suppose. The poets tell how Pancho fell. Lefty's living in some cheap motel. The desert's quiet and Cleveland's cold, so the story goes, we're told. Well, Pancho needs your prayers, it's true, oh, but save a few for Lefty too. He just did what he had to do. Oh, and now he's growing old. A few gray federales say they could have took him any day. They only let him slip away out of kindness, I suppose. A few gray federales say they could have had him any day. They only let him go so wrong out of kindness, I suppose.
Wow, that was fantastic. Thank you very much, Alex. So many of the songs that you've interpreted I've never heard of, and you said you'd only just learned that one yesterday.
Yeah.
Did you say? So how did you discover that one? Because you have this great knack of finding, I wouldn't obviously say forgotten songs, but you don't pick the well-known ones that you pick just beautiful songs
Yeah.
when you find them.
Well, it's easy to take a song off the radio and just sing it back again. But when it comes to collecting songs that I haven't written and arranging my own version, I could only do that with a song I could really relate to. And there are a lot of great songwriters out there, and a lot of true poets, many of them long gone, some of them still out there, and I imagine some being born every new day. And that one's by a guy called Townes Van Zandt, he was a great country, I suppose, country folk blues singer guitarist, but he was sort of fit the singer, poet, musician archetype in that he never truly made it, and in many ways was a wreck. Lots of problems, drug problems and everything. He died, as far as I'm aware, back in the 90s, but that was one of his stories.
So what sort of era, what sort of decade was he sort of at his peak then in terms
I suppose I would guess if you call it a peak, 70s. He's one of those unsung heroes. You get some people calling him one of the greatest songwriters that no one's ever heard of,
right.
That sort of thing.
I think you're good at finding those artists to interpret this. Like I said, they're certainly new to me, but I imagine they're a good introduction to many people who finding
Sure.
these songs. And that on your album, you've taken songs that were effectively sort of sung that were just folk songs in the sense that they were perhaps sung by slaves on a chain gang, or not necessarily written by sort of jobby musicians even.
You get traditional songs, you get universal songs and universal feelings and expressions that certainly I can relate to, and I try to sing them so anyone can relate to. It goes without saying that songs that go back 400 years or whatever, there may be recordings of them from 100 years ago that just because of the change in culture and all of us in the last 100 years means it's difficult to just relate to the recording, certainly as an introduction, but the song itself, the expressions, the ideas, certainly universal human expression.
Yeah, indeed. And the nice thing about taking a traditional song like that is that everybody knows it's open then to an individual's interpretation of it. There's there's not that you would draw. Most people wouldn't criticise a interpretation of a song per se, but by taking something that is traditional, there's an understanding that song will mean different things to different people and be expressed in different ways, rather than taking some very, very well-known song and then it being deemed sacrilege to have covered it. You're taking songs which are just meant to be expressed in your own way.
Yeah, well, it's I suppose it's I'm not into get into the whole folk music thing, because a lot of people use that term for a lot of ways that people disagree about. But there's the oral tradition, which is where a lot of music really comes to us from, and really that belongs to no one. But it's at the same time, I've got my own songs that I've written and still write, and if someone wants to take one of those and make their own arrangement, then well, I'm not going to try and stop them even if I could.
Well, I think it's I think for people that are obviously still alive today and have songs of theirs covered, if you want to use that word, or reinterpreted by someone else, if it's done with a certain amount of respect and understanding, then that's almost the highest honour, isn't it? If someone
Yeah.
can take your song. And I mean, we were talking to Jim, who was on just before us. I should say thank you to Jim, who played a lot of Britpop stuff tonight, and there has been a lot of stuff all over the BBC about Britpop, but it made me dig back into some old material that I was listening to back in the 90s, and there was a band called Sleeper, who perhaps weren't the biggest band in the world, but Elvis Costello covered one of their songs, and it wouldn't necessarily be what most people would expect, but I know Louise, the singer, obviously saw that as just being one of the highlights of her career, to have one of their songs, a sort of jaunty little indie pop number, covered by one of the greatest songwriters.
Yeah. Well, the song I played earlier, Willie Nelson had a hit with his version of, but yeah, like his imitation is read as flattery, and when it comes to art and cultural phenomena, I mean that's how things come to permeate culture, and it's forms of particular approaches to art or music or creativity in general. It's when people acknowledge the merit of someone's work, and then are influenced by it. That's how we establish art forms and even genres of music.
Indeed. I like whenever I try and talk about you on the show, or even mention you on the internet, I'm very wary of of singling you or pinning you down to one type of genre yourself. I mean, you've mentioned yourself tonight, traditional music, folk, blues, all those things you do very well and do in different ways. But what I like about, there's a track on your album, when I was it was again an introduction for me to that song, but when I was looking into other versions that have been other versions that have been done by other people over the decades, one of them is I'm thinking of St James Infirmary Blues, and
yes.
There was a sort of almost a jazz that was done in a jazz style,
Louis
if you
Armstrong,
want to
and
yes, indeed, that's it.
I think Dr. House, Hugh Laurie, has his own version.
Okay, yeah. It's certainly a song that's been done many times, but it is nice to see it done. If you want to pin things down to genres and styles, then to have a great song done in so many different ways is a testament to a good song, good story.
Yeah.
As you said, you used the word story, and that's what these great songs boil down to. They're good stories that are worth retelling.
The thing with these labels is that they're all formed retrospectively. Like blues music often wasn't called blues music at the time. People marketed it as ethnic folk music and that sort of thing, and stuff that's become folk music now often at the time was something else. And the same when you go back to Jimmy Rogers, the cowboy singer, who some people call the father of country music, or the guy who started it all off, or Hank Williams, who has similar attributions to his name. At their time, a lot of their contemporaries didn't call him country, and folk, particularly folk music, is music of tradition, and music of oral tradition, folk tradition, and I mean you could call jazz folk music because of the way that people take standards and rearrange them and build on them and are influenced by tradition. And same about blues or rock and roll or anything really. And what even is world music but folk music outside of America or the UK?
Of course. And you can never, a good song will never die, and you can't kill a good song, can you? Someone will always take it on and breathe new life into it, and make it their own, and some will have, will make it something that earns them lots of money, gets them played, on radio stations around the world. Others will just, take a song and do it just for the love, and there's a song which I owed to Billy Joe.
Yes.
Which for a while I just tried to collect as many different versions of that song, and it's only when you start doing that with a song you love that you realise how there are good and bad versions, but they're all well-meaning, well-intended. But it's just nice to hear how one great song, Bobby Gentry's song in this case, how it can be just interpreted by different people.
You have that song, that Dropkick Murphys song, "Shipping Up to Boston," and that's it's quite a heavy song, and that's the lyrics of that. The song are from a Woody Guthrie song he wrote back in the 40s or something.
Really,
and obviously it transcends style or styles or genres there.
Sure.
In the way that, true. When you talk about folk tradition, people passing on music and ideas, transcends genres, in my opinion, at least.
No, I think you're spot on with that. Can we hear another song from you now, if you're ready to do so? I mean, feel free to play whatever you like, and we will listen with enjoyment, I'm sure.
I'll do okay, we're talking about transcending genres with different versions of a song. This is a song from about 50 years ago that was originally a rock and roll song from one of the most famous folk musicians of all time, and now I'm going to do it in, I suppose, a folkish manner, people might say, but nobody feels any pain tonight as I stand inside the rain. Everybody knows that baby's got new clothes, but lately I see her ribbons and her bows have fallen from her curls. She takes just like a woman. She makes love just like a woman. And she is just like a woman. Oh, but she breaks just like a little girl. Queen Mary, she's my friend. Yes, I believe I will go see her again. Nobody has to guess that baby can be blessed till she finally sees that she's just like the rest, with her amphetamine and her pearls. She takes just like a woman. She makes love just like a woman. And she acts just like a woman. But she breaks just like a is this pain in here? I can't stay in here and clear that I just cannot feel. Yes, I believe it is time for us to quit. Oh, but when we meet again, introduced as friends, please don't let on that you knew me when I was hungry and it was your word. She takes just like a woman. She makes love just like a woman. And she aches just like a woman. Oh, but she breaks just like a little girl.
Well, thanks very much, Alex. I feel like I should clap after that, but being on my own, it doesn't. It was almost seemed patronising to do so. I don't know, but that was just stunning. Thank you so much. Another song which is new to me, and not I don't think I've heard you play before. So that your repertoire is quite something, I have to say, because you know a lot of songs.
Well, what's the fun in doing the same set list every night?
No, indeed, and when you play as often as you do it, it's worth varying it, isn't it? Definitely. I'm just going to play one song, and we'll be straight back to Alex after this. You're listening to Phonic FM 106.8 in Exeter and www.phonic.fm online. You can contact us here in the studio. It's studio@phonic.fm on the email, or you can tweet me at @NoCrowdsurfing. And we'll be back, like I say, with Alex, chatting more. Alex Kumar, I should say. This is after we've heard some Queen. That was Queen, and good company, and we've gone from me chatting quite, I like to think, quite in depth there about music to Alex Kumar, who's in the studio with me, to going back to my rather ridiculous theme of the songs we're playing in between talking to Alex, which was songs with good in the title, because of it being Good Friday. But you have to allow me these little ways I amuse myself. But yes, Alex Kumar is in the studio with me. He's played 2 fantastic songs, and we're going to have a bit more of a chat with him now. But we should first say hello to James, who's listening, who I know has heard Alex's album, his self-titled debut album, which came out at the end of last year, and is asking when Alex is going to be heading to Reading. So I think we'll have to organise a national tour. We'll get you a bit further afield, which should be good.
I'm looking at doing a Scottish tour at some point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, at some point.
Oh, that would be great to get up there.
Go on BBC Radio Alba,
Okay.
And then trying my luck on the streets of Glasgow.
Oh, why not? well, I guess if you make the effort to go up to Scotland for a gig, you might as well do a few while you're up there and make it a tour, mightn't you? Really?
Yeah.
And we should also say good evening this evening to Kira Osmond, who's listening up in North Devon, and she's somebody else we've had on this show, another exceptional talent. And I should point out as well that she's playing a gig this Sunday in Bristol, if you're around, at the old bookshop in Bristol. I'm not entirely sure where that is. I do have a map in front of me. It looks like it's in Bedminster somewhere in Bristol anyway. So if you look on Kira's website, or perhaps look for the old bookshop Bristol, she'll be playing this Sunday supporting Wolfhound, who sound like they perhaps should be, I suppose you can interpret the band name Wolfhound in so many ways, but I'm sure I'm intrigued to hear who they are. I'd love to be able to be there, Kira, and sadly I should be seen to family commitments that day, but have a good gig, and hopefully we'll see you back down in Exeter sometime soon. And I think that was possibly one of the last times I saw you was at Kira's gig at the Bowling Green here in Exeter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, as I say, not had the opportunity to catch you live as often as I should. But so you were saying, as well as perhaps the potential of some Scotland gigs, there's more things coming up this summer.
Yeah, I'm doing quite a lot around the county in the summer. Doing there's the Exmouth's Music Festival and the Exeter Respect Festival at the end of May, and then some other things, and out in the far corners of the county as well. And
Good.
yeah, it'd be fun. What is that? The old bookshop? Is that an actual bookshop? Do you know?
I have no idea. Well, maybe Kira can let us know if she's listening. About some more details about that gig.
Playing at a bookshop sounds cool.
Yeah. Well, Kira has played when she played at the Bowling Green here in Exeter. It's a great supporter of live music in Exeter, the Bowling Green. But let's face it is a pub.
Yeah.
And as I know, Alex is well aware that the venue play can make quite a difference to the evening, and it was a great evening, that gig. But in and around that night, I know Kira's played in churches and sort of next in places overlooking beaches and all sorts recently. So and you recently returned to Alex to the Bike Shed Theatre.
Yes.
And when I saw you there last time supporting the Cut Purse Rascals, it was a good gig. But the thing about the Bike Shed bar, it seems to be a cocktail bar, and you then got the noise of the cocktail shakers going on in the background, which I could only imagine was off-putting. It didn't spoil my...
Well, I quite like the fact that there's actually one bar I've been to that knows how to make a Roy Rogers. But it was actually a good night, probably with Adam Sweet.
Yes.
He was a great blues guitarist and singer, and it's a very good night. Looking at maybe doing something in the theatre itself.
Okay.
At some point, maybe.
Well, that sounds promising. I did give Adam's stuff a listen on the basis of hoping to get to that gig and then not being able to make it at the last minute. So yeah. So it must have been a good build, the two of you together, and yeah, that would be good to see again. Yeah, good stuff. Would you like to play another song? I mean, we could certainly chat all night, and I'd be happy to. But I'd also love to hear you play. So yeah, anything you want to play for us now, we'd be happy to hear it.
There's a Woody Guthrie song I like playing. I can do one of mine later. This is based on a song by the great singer-songwriter Woody Guthrie, and really it's a song about migration and struggle and plight of impoverished, in this case particularly transient migrant workers. See, the thing with Woody Guthrie, as a sort of visionary as well as a folk singer, he always saw in the early 20th century, where America is, especially in the South, deeply segregated. He always saw race as irrelevant, a distraction to the class struggle of the poor and impoverished, with corrupt institutions trying to turn the poor on each other based on race and nationality and creed. But this is a song called Pastures of Plenty. It's a mighty hard road that my poor hands have hold. My poor feet have traveled a hot and dusty road, out of your dust bowl and westward we roll. orchards of peaches and prunes. I slept on the ground by the light of your moon. At the edge of your city, you'll see us so thin. Dust, and we'll go with the wind. California and Arizona, I make all your crops. Then it's north up to Oregon to gather your heart. Pluck the grapes from your vine to set on your table your light sparkling wine. From green pastures of plenty, from dry desert ground, from that grand cooling down where the waters run down. Every state in this union, as migrants have been, and we'll work in this fight, and we'll fight till we win. It's always we ramble that river and night. All along your green valley, I work till I die. This fight out of fend with my life if need be. My pastures of plenty must always be free. We worked in your orchards of peaches and prunes. We slept on the ground by the light of your moon. At the edge of your city, you'll see us so thin. We come with the dust, and we go with the wind.
Well, thank you very much, Alex. That was Alex Kumar live on Phonic FM. It's an honour to have you here. That was the third song Alex has done for us this evening, and just sounding incredible. And I've missed hearing Alex live, so it was really nice to hear that. Thank you. Do you want to tell us a bit about that again? It was a Woody Guthrie song that...
Well, Woody Guthrie, was he himself. He was a white Oklahoman folk singer, and back in the Depression times and Dust Bowl times, a lot of poor Okies, people from other states in the Midwest and the South, became displaced as the land turned against them, and sought solace in places like California, and found themselves on similar trails as poor black Americans whose parents or grandparents had been slaves, and Mexican migrant workers looking to make a living and feed their families, working in the orchards, pulling up beets, and that line of work. And at a time of immense social inequity, people were divided in the early 20th century a lot by race in America, and they still are. And Woody, who played with and influenced many other folk singers, and played a lot with Leadbelly, the black blues and folk singer, and he believed that race was just being used to distract the poor and blame each other, when the true enemies were the wealthy and the corrupt police, who would stand by as people left to starve and lose their homes, lose their livelihoods.
You choose the music you listen to. That obviously you've mentioned having stories, and you've told the background to that song and the sort of music Woody was doing. Is it therefore something that is important to you, that that you know the background to a song? You don't just listen to it and think there's a nice tune. I can hear the words, I can understand what's been said, but do you like to delve deeper when you do hear something that grabs you?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's difficult because it's usually difficult or impossible to know precisely why or how, for what reason a specific song was written. You can never see into the heads. When I write songs, there's no planning about it. Just it comes to me, and if it's going to become a song, it'll be the song, or most of the song, the idea of a song within half an hour or whatever. And then at that point I'll either start performing it or throw it away or reserve it somewhere for whatever reason. But it's I don't think I could ever really sing a song, or ever really sing a song that I couldn't relate to. And I try to sing songs that everyone can relate to in some way. And that's why a lot of these very old songs, like some of Woody Guthrie's songs, timeless and universal, and people could relate to them now, and people related to them then, and maybe they'll always be true. And there's songs that need singing today just as much as they needed singing 50, 70, 80 years ago.
So you think there are songs that will always be relevant to the world today, and there's perhaps nothing specific now that you feel driven to writing a sort of a protest towards that's happening now? I know that for the songs you've written yourself and recorded, that certainly none of those are direct protest songs, but is there any time when you think that something's made you so angry you want to pick up a pen and write a song to sort of show some release of that frustration? Or
well, it's I mean, if you say to be a protest song, if it has to be a song about a specific event or something, then like a topical song, I don't really tend to do topical songs. Maybe if the need comes to me. I mean, all my songs are protest songs in that you know, this song that people always want to hear, 1963. That's I mean, that song is about, in many ways, how some things have changed and some things are the same and some things still need changing, and a lot of hope for change people had 50 years ago that still hasn't come about. People are disillusioned, lose hope, and there's another song in my album, I Just Received the News, which is about arbitrary death and people who just their lives happen and they're over and people move on. So there are a lot of things that are too real for people to talk about. People don't talk about because they can't, and a lot of things are almost ingrained into our society. And like the song I just did, Woody saw that, and a lot of things that are to really fight against. You have to remove yourself from society, and the only way to do that is to really become an outlaw. So it's and push yourself farther away from the people you would set free, and it's an impossible conundrum, dilemma. But I don't know if a song can ever really make a difference by itself, but as a form of human expression, I think maybe songs can bring people together, at least make people think and make people know that it's that there are some things we all share, regardless of which perspective we're looking at everyone else in its society from. But I suppose I don't really write topical songs. I know some people do, and some people have written great topical songs. Maybe I will write topical songs yet, but I try to write in ways that people can relate to universally. But all my songs really do is protest against something.
And I think because they're not. I agree that I don't think it's worth writing something topical per se, because it can become dated.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about the tracks that you've certainly recorded on the album that you've written, they sit perfectly amongst these older ones and these songs that you've played tonight, and that sit with a whole sort of ethos of songs about people, songs about life, and you know that you couldn't distinguish between songs that this is meant as a compliment, songs that you've written can't be distinguished as being written in 2012, 2013, 2014 from ones that were written 100 years or more ago. So I think I hope you take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
That's what I think it's good that you aren't trying to write about up-to-date subjects or whatever. You're writing about universal subjects that do appeal to everyone.
I mean, I wouldn't have anything against writing a topical song per se. I mean, you get some directly topical songs that are important, and because they're about things that shouldn't be forgotten. And like you get songs like Ohio by Neil Young, For Dead in Ohio, or Hurricane, or Woody Guthrie with a song called Deportees, Crash at Los Gatos, about a plane crash that happened, and I think everyone on board died, but the song goes, but the newspaper says they are just deportees. And but when it comes to protest songs, I mean, is it more effective to protest against something that will no longer apply in 5 years, or something that will, if you see what I mean?
Sure. No, I think you're doing the right thing. And there were the tracks I mentioned on your album. There were 4 songs you've written on your album. There's one that echoes in my footsteps that you were playing quite a lot last time I saw you, sort of end of last year, beginning of this year. And any other newly written songs, that, not suggesting you play them now, but anything that you're working on at the moment?
Well, I always write,
Sure.
and I always write, and I've got a lot in the box, pieces of paper or whatever, and some of it's written is just thoughts. Some of it's, I suppose, I don't know, attempts at poetry or whatever, and I've got quite a few songs that I've put aside and may resurrect or introduce, maybe for the next record. I've got a couple as well that I'll probably play next time you see me, but I'm not going to stop writing anytime soon.
Good, glad to hear it. But there's no plans to record anything as yet?
No, I'm not. I don't have any recording plans at the moment, because I'm waiting to. Well, in the summer I'm planning to get around more, and
Sure.
There's no sense in recording anything new when there are vast amounts of people out there that haven't even been acquainted with what's out there already, if you see what I mean.
No, it makes perfect sense. And much as I love the album, I think your best bet is to get out and play, and to make the most of this summer, and see as many people, play to as many people as possible, because every time I've seen you live, the reaction has been outstanding. And I think, I think watching you perform excuse me, that's my telephone. Watching you perform is as engaging as listening to you on records. So
well, I try to make it about the performances. I mean, really the album was just to lay down, because it was just recorded in an hour or two into the can.
I still find that incredible. You booked a whole day, didn't you, in the studio, and then you were sort of done within a couple of hours and done and dusted. So that's quite incredible.
But it's a bit, I find it a bit strange playing into a can on an island near Cornwall.
Right.
But I mean, it's all about the performances, and
Sure.
a lot of ways I think I've improved, and I've got a lot more to offer performance-wise than was just laid down last summer. I encourage people to buy the album.
Of course.
I've got a plug. It's on iTunes and Bandcamp and that sort of thing. But it's about the shows, and in enough shows time I'll get set on the next album.
Sounds like a good plan. So do you want to give everyone a taster of your performance skills that we've just been discussing, and play us perhaps one last song?
Sure. I think maybe I ought to do something on the album.
I think that would be great. Good idea.
This is a song that's well, I suppose it's a protest song, but it's about substitutions and compromise, and it's on the album, track 4 maybe. It's called Love the Next Best Thing. Somewhere out there, a new day has just begun, and I'm not really sure why it is that I have come. And as we stand here out in the hall, you know it doesn't mean anything at all. We're just casting our shadows on the wall, and that's all. And it's not love, it's the next best thing. Then she invites me inside and asks if she can get me something to drink, and I'll take whatever it is that will stop me from trying to rethink. 'Cause in the shape I'm in, I can't even afford to blink. And though my mind's a little confused, I remember it well. That day 12 months ago when I fell under her spell. And the way she looks at me, she can tell. And it's not love, but it's the next best thing. Then she asked me what it was that all of it meant. And she needs me to say it, though she's already guessed my intent. And as the time ticks swiftly on, I can sense her growing discontent. Because she knows that my heart belongs to you, but she knows what it is she wants to do. And I think she wants to see all through and make me forget you. But it's not love, it's the next best thing. And it goes without saying that you are beyond compare. But you're not here, and she's just sitting there. And I'm trying so hard just to not care. But reflections on your soul in a voice so sweet come while she's trying to be so discreet. And I wonder if this is the taste of defeat. It's as bitter as it is sweet. And it's not love, it's the next best thing. And she's calling me up to her room. And it's all happening, but too soon. She's wearing your perfume, and I think we both know how tonight will end. Because if you're not coming, she'll have to do instead. And she's waiting so patiently on her bed. And it's not love, it's the next best thing. And it's not love, it's the next best thing. It's not love, What's the next best thing?
Outstanding stuff. Mr. Alex Kumar, Love or the Next Best Thing, written and performed by Alex Kumar in the studio here at Phonic FM tonight. I've heard that song a lot of times, I've seen you perform it a lot of times, but and I love your interpretations of all these other songs, but your own material is just outstanding. It's just
Nice.
just brilliant stuff. So again, you've mentioned your album. Please, everyone who's just heard and enjoyed that, please get hold of Alex's album via iTunes, or even better, come to his gigs, buy yourself a CD, and you won't be disappointed. You really won't. And we will mention more of those gigs as and when they come up over the next couple of months. Sounds like there's going to be quite a few for people to come and see you at, which is ideal. And what's the best way in the meantime of people sort of keeping tabs on what you're up to social media wise? And you're a reluctant Twitter user, I know that.
Yeah, well, I got my website, which I update with stuff more and more often, which is just alexkumar.co.uk. You just Google Alex Kumar, it's Kumar with a K, and it'll come up. And what will also come up is my Facebook page, which I also put stuff up at. It's all there on the internet, and sometimes you see posters and flyers around town. Sometimes I see them and remember that I have a gig to do.
Always a handy reminder just to see your own face in a shop window or on a lamppost somewhere, and reminds you you've got to get practicing for this upcoming gig. Yeah, and as I seem to remember when we were doing this exact thing last time you were in, that I always suggest people, if they are going to Google your name, that they put the word music or something on the end, just so they don't get confused by the bearded explorer.
I think someone on Google must be a fan, because I'm now getting more triumphs in the face-off that I'm told has emerged, because apparently when people Google Alex Kumar, what comes up is you get several stuff relating to me, some of which is a long defunct MySpace page.
Okay.
And you also get Dr. Alex Kumar, who is a leading British Indian scientist who's currently or formerly leading or led an expedition to the Antarctic, and his website. But I'm told, I think my website's either overtaken or at least it's on par with his now if you search Alex Kumar. But it should be pretty easy to tell apart.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
But no, that must be very satisfying knowing you're doing well in the rankings up against the Doctor Alex Kumar. Now, thank you so much for coming in tonight, and please let us know here on Phonic FM what you thought of that great performance, and you can contact us by emailing studio@phonic.fm or tweeting me at @nocrowdsurfing, and please do go and see Alex live. He is an exceptional talent, and I love the fact that when you do come in and you talk about your music, you talk about music, you talk about the history of music, you talk about the things that are important about music.
On that note, I've started to something I started doing out of, I don't know, boredom or curiosity, which seems to go down quite well as I do it more, is integrating more stories, some of them personal stories, or family stories or whatever, behind certain songs and relating to certain songs into my live performances. And I don't have the time to write them down on my website, so you have to come see me live to hear any of them.
Yeah, well, I can recommend that, certainly. Thank you so much, Alex, for coming in, and you're welcome back anytime, and we should come and see you live, that's for sure. And in the meantime, we'll work on that. We've got a gig in Reading to sort out.
Yeah.
If perhaps we'll just go that bit further, go straight on to London, and might as well just go straight for the big one. We'll find a gig for you in a church with Kira Osmond at some point. I think it would be a good bill, and anyone listening in Scotland who has a place that would suit a performance by Alex Kumar, then also get in contact, and we'll build up those Scottish dates as well. And in the meantime, keep an eye on all of Alex's online activities to find out where he's playing in and around Devon over the next couple of months as we enter into festival season, and all sorts of good outdoor gigs coming up soon. So I'll say once again, thank you very much, Alex.
Thanks.
Thank you.